Hi everyone, Tom Bialik with the Hobart Chamber of Commerce coming to you one more time with another installment of Influencers in Action. We've got a little different setting today. Today we're on the campus of Indiana University Northwest, right here in the office of newly installed Chancellor Ken Iwama. Chancellor, thanks so much for having us in.
Oh, Tom, thanks for allowing me to be here and really speak to the Hobart Chamber, but also everyone else out there that listens to the broadcast.
Indeed. Now, newly installed, but not necessarily new to the role of Chancellor of IUN.
No, in fact, what Tom was alluding to last week, had a week and a half ago, had my formal installation as the 7th Chancellor of IU Northwest. However, I've been here since August of 2020. But because of the pandemic, my installation was delayed for more than a year and finally happened. And one of the dynamics that I spoke about at the installation was it actually, in some ways, was a blessing in disguise, right? The fact that this was delayed, it provides me with actually being able to speak to a room full of friends and colleagues as opposed to a room full of strangers. So having the installation, being formally introduced to the community, both internal and external communities, a year later, was actually kind of wonderful because, like I said, I've worked with almost everybody in that room, including you, yes. And we've had a relationship, and that is more powerful than normal installations when people are coming just out of curiosity. What does this person believe? What is this person? How are they going to lead? What is their vision? I think the cat's out of the bag already because I've been working with everybody, and what they see is what they get. And again, forged a lot of relationships that have just, that bond has become even stronger based upon all the crises and the challenges that we had during the pandemic. So it was quite a day, a week and a half ago, and a day I'll never forget. My formal introduction here, but like you said, I'm a little bit of a veteran here already, being here a year and a couple months. So.
Well, it was a very inspirational installation ceremony, to say the least.
I appreciate that.
For those that might not be totally familiar with your background, maybe take us back just a few years to let everyone know how it is that you made your way here to IUN.
Well, my background, I come from the Northeast, the East Coast, predominantly working in both New Jersey and New York City, my career. But, I'm an attorney by profession and by trade. And but all of my legal work has been done in the context of educational institutions. So even way back when, working for law firms, my area of expertise was school law and labor employment law. And so in the context of school organizations, whether they be K through 12 or for higher education institutions. So, and then eventually I became general counsel for the second largest school district in Jersey City. Then made the transition to higher education as a director of diversity and compliance, then became chief of staff, then became a vice president, and then this put me on my road to becoming chancellor here at IU Northwest. So again, attorney by background, but everything that I've always done is in the context of either K through 12 education or higher education. So it gave me a good perspective in terms of the needs and wants in educational institutions as their leader.
Talk a little bit about your vision for IUN. Where do you see the school in 5 years or 10 years, perhaps?
Well, I think it's funny that you say that because we're currently working on a new strategic plan for the next 5 years. Everybody knows organizations, the strategic plan kind of sets forth the mission, vision, and values, but also the goals and priorities for an institution organization for a period of time, which ours will be for the next 5 years. And so we're having those discussions right now, but on a macro level, on a global level, I'm going to go back to some of my remarks at the recent installation. And I think we're at a critical time now, both where IU Northwest is ready to really be rediscovered, that term I use, rediscovered by Northwest Indiana. I think people know of IU. I think they know about the programs at IU Northwest that they maybe have graduated from, but holistically, I don't think people really have a good grasp over the years. Maybe it's been lost about all the incredible programming, incredible students, incredible faculty and staff that we have here at Northwest. So I think part of my initial goals on a macro level is to through marketing, through communications, through collaboration and outreach, is to really connect more with our surrounding communities. And then, like I said, all boats rise, right? If the best relationships are reciprocal relationships. When you find that connection with an organization within Northwest Indiana, and we find that our mission, their mission aligns kind of with our mission, what we need to do, working together, we create something new and different and bigger and better. That is, I think, what we need to accelerate here, for the next actually forever, right? Forever, because higher education institutions cannot be walled off institutions from their communities. That model, if it ever worked, certainly does not work today when universities need to have a critical component in their communities as anchor institutions, right? They have to be, most institutions like IU Northwest, they're employers, one of the biggest employers in this area, but they're also helping the next group of employees, right? Our students into the workforce to meet those needs, but also we're an incredible, we provide research and other expertise to our communities as well too. So we have to accentuate that. We have to advance that, and I think if we do that, our future will be secure in terms of our standing and our place in Northwest Indiana. Again, always for the benefit of the students at the end of the day, and prospective students moving forward.
Now, in order to make those connections, in order to rise all of those boats, certainly takes leadership. How would you describe yourself as a leader?
I think I am collaborative, and I try to exemplify the best practices for collaboration. But I think, for a leader, I think in this point in time, again, leadership has to be malleable and has to adjust to our times, right? So this past year, leadership has been kind of like in crisis management, right? With the pandemic, my struggle and my obstacles and the difficulties that I have were all about how to make sure that the transition time where students went remote and our faculty and staff went remote and then come back, when everybody came back, last fall, to make sure that, and this fall as well too, to make sure that all the health and safety protocols are necessary. And that's a heavy burden for anyone or any organization, because it's not just something frivolous. It's somebody's health and safety that they're placing in your hands, and trying to ensure to the best possible and to the extent possible that you can have people assured that they're coming to a safe environment. So, the leadership last year was really crisis management leadership, but my leadership style, even coming out of that, is really vision, trying to move people towards that vision of, again, engaging with our communities, supporting that vision, and providing the energy that's necessary to have people to work together. And part of my leadership is obviously leading by example. So, for example, me being here with you, sharing my message with you, and for your members, and for those who watch your video broadcast, being present is such a critical part of leadership, right? Not being behind a desk 24/7, but actually being out in the community, making connections, listening to people, and then reacting to make IU Northwest better. So I try to do that more and more. I think more and more faculty, staff, and students are doing that at IU Northwest, and want to create this culture. The leadership is creating this culture where we think about our communities, and we think about communities as a place that can actually help our mission, as opposed to be something on top of or superfluous to our mission. It is directly aligned with our mission.
I've always felt that the strongest leaders are the best listeners, and you and I have had an opportunity to meet a couple of times, and I think it was after our second meeting I realized that you knew a lot about me, but I knew very little about you. And I think that's just a testament to your question asking abilities and your curiosity and your listening skills, and I admire that a great deal.
Well, any leader, you, me, right? We have a lot to say, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be leaders, right? And people look for us for our positions and for our leadership, and to be able to verbalize what people are feeling, to rally around. And so I've never been accused of being one of not being talkative. So I like to talk, but at the same time, early in my career, and I learn more every day, but even has become even more apparent to me, the process of allowing people to speak and to be heard. And I catch myself sometimes even in meetings when I'm so anxious to say something based upon what to kind of lean back and wait for them to finish what they have to say. Or because again, I don't know all the answers, and many things I don't know the answers for. So, I need to rely on my cabinet here at IU Northwest, my senior leadership team, but every governance structure that's built into including the student government, you have to listen, even and especially when it's things that you don't want to hear. Right, we all want to be complimented. We all want to be patted on the back and say you're doing a great job, right? And you still may, but doing part of that great job is listening to criticism, and filtering that to say, okay, I understand what you're saying. Is it true? And saying, if it's true, how can we meet the concern that you're setting forth? And so I try to do that with all our groups here at IU Northwest. And that listening part is critical to that problem solving piece. And so hopefully I'm doing the right balancing of talking, but also listening at the same time.
Are there any leaders in particular that you look up to or have looked up to as sort of a role model?
Well, certainly the presidents that I've worked for in the past at the College of Staten Island, who helped me move along in my career, and watching both the difficult decisions that they have had to make, and frankly both the achievements and accomplishments, all the missteps, right? So you learn from your leaders' missteps about and talking to them and saying, okay, how could this have done better? And how could we have been maybe more communicative or more transparent? Or how could we have, stopped a situation from deviating to a path that we didn't want it to go to? So I think certainly my prior leadership, both of what they did and maybe what they didn't do, were very informative to me. But certainly with most people, you have to look no further than your parents as well too, in terms of leadership capabilities. And the installation that we talked about, just recently, I spoke a lot about my parents' journeys through their life and the hardships that they overcame. And I think one of the takeaways from that is, don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be, everybody wants to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and say, I can do everything myself. And I'm certainly that independent type of person as well too. And it's been hard for me in life to ask for help from others, because you perceive that almost as a sign of weakness. But frankly, in a leadership capacity, asking for the right help and the right partnerships is probably a sign of strength rather than weakness. And so, I've learned that from my parents and their experience growing up. I learn it from the students every day, those who are bold enough to ask for help. And we here at IU Northwest pride ourselves in being able to give that help, even sometimes before it's being asked for.
Now you're just getting started here at IUN, and your presence is being felt. But what's next for Chancellor Iwama? Where do you want to be 5 years from now?
Well, 5 years from now, it will probably be the end of the new strategic plan we're looking for. So all the goals and initiatives that we're going to identify, I hope we have accomplished them or really far along in accomplishing them. And, at the bottom line for a higher education institution, it is enrollment, right? It's our best way of knowing, do students want to come here? Do they know about us? And do they want to stay? And so I think looking back, all the things that we're doing with this community engagement, with with empowering ourselves to engage with our communities, increasing the level academic programming, providing the support to our faculty and our staff to increase our academic programs and the breadth of academic programming. All these things, looking back, I hope will have an impact in terms of either stabilizing, but more importantly, or increasing enrollment. It's a difficult time now across the country, right? We see across Indiana, less and less high school students are going to colleges and university, which is, I think, alarming for not just me, but all of our higher education leaders in Northwest Indiana. So I think we have not just IU Northwest, we can't do it alone. We need our partners really to really talk about the importance of higher education, talk about how it really is the key to socioeconomic mobility for the residents of Northwest Indiana. And so I'm looking back from 5 years now, I hope we've made an impact on that front. I hope we've really instilled the need for higher education and the opportunity that it presents, especially at a time when students are so concerned about cost of education, right? Well, IU Northwest is a state institution. It's one of the least expensive tuitions around. So not only do you great programming, but you do it at a tuition rate that doesn't impact your future moving forward in terms of severe debt, right? Most of our students don't have that, So I think we're well poised for the future. But again, 5 years from now, looking back, I hope all the things that we're trying to spark come together, all those partnerships happen for the end game of really, attracting more students to IU Northwest.
Well, having been born and raised in Northwest Indiana, I think I speak for all residents of Northwest Indiana when I say we're happy to have you here.
Well, thank you, Tom. I really appreciate it. One of the jokes that I told at my installation recently, when we were first contemplating taking a chancellor position, my wife had said, "Well, can you think about going to someplace that's a warmer climate, right?" And so, Northwest Indiana is not necessarily Florida or Southern California or any of those other warmer climates or Bermuda or whatever, but we gladly traded that year-round warmth externally for the year-round warmth of the people of Northwest Indiana, and I say that with all sincerity and try not to get too choked up about it. But everyone here, the people in Northwest India, it's just, I've never met more welcoming people in my life, and to come here as a stranger and to be welcomed the way we've been welcomed in all quarters of Northwest Indiana, it's exciting, it's welcoming, and it just reinforces the right choice I made in coming here because I love it here.
Well, speaking for the residents of Northwest Indiana again, I say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Very kind words.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
He's Ken Iwama, Chancellor of Indiana University Northwest, right here in Gary, Indiana. Chancellor, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you,
You've been
everyone.
very gracious.
Thank you, Tom.
sir.
I appreciate it.
I'm Tom Bialik with the Hobart Chamber of Commerce. We look forward to seeing you again on another installment of Influencers in Action. Take care.